We present Social Studies for Standard 8 pupils based on the revised curriculum. With me in the studio to present the program are the radio teacher and two Standard 8 pupils, Nekesa and Tipis. Please say hello to Standard 8 pupils.
Hello, Standard 8 pupils.
Welcome to the program. Our topic today is soils. In the lesson, we shall discuss the following. 1. Causes of soil erosion. 2. Effects of soil erosion on human activities. And 3. Soil conservation measures. Tell us what is soil erosion, Nekesa?
Soil erosion is the removal and carrying away of layers of soil by moving water, wind, or ice.
That is good, Nekesa. Water, wind, and ice are referred to as agents of soil erosion. We shall discuss the following causes of soil erosion. 1. Deforestation. 2. Monocropping. 3. Overstocking. And 4. Cultivating on steep slopes. What is the meaning of the word deforestation, Tipis?
Deforestation is the cutting down of trees.
That is correct, Tipis. When the trees have been cut, the soil is exposed to agents of erosion. The soil is easily carried away by wind and moving water. The roots of trees hold the soil particles together. The leaves and branches reduce the impact of the raindrops on the soil surface. What do you think is the meaning of the word monocropping, Nekesa?
I think the word monocropping refers to the growing of one type of crop on the same piece of land.
That is a good answer, Nekesa. Mono means one. This monocropping is a growing of one crop on a piece of land for a long period of time. Monocropping weakens the soil, making it unable to support plant growth. The inadequate vegetation coverage of the soil exposes it to the agents of erosion. The soil is easily carried away by wind and moving water. The other cause of soil erosion is overstocking. Teacher, please write the word overstocking on the chalkboard. Thank you, teacher. Could you tell us what overstocking is, Tipis?
Overstocking is the keeping of large herds of livestock that an area cannot support.
That is correct, Tipis. What is likely to happen when large herds of livestock are kept in a small piece of land, Nekesa?
The animals are likely to eat all the grass and leave the soil without any cover.
That is correct, Nekesa. Once the soil is left bare, it is exposed to agents of erosion. The animals step on the soil and make it loose. The soil is easily carried away by wind or rainwater. The paths the animals follow form rills and gullies during rainy seasons. Where are we likely to find people keeping a lot of livestock? Tipis?
This is common where there are pastoralists.
That is correct, Tipis. Overstocking is mainly found in arid and semi-arid areas of Kenya, where pastoralism is a major activity. Some of these areas are Turkana, Marsabit, and Isiolo. The other cause of erosion is cultivation on the steep slopes. Tell us what happens when farmers dig up and down the steep slopes, Tipis.
The soil is made loose and thus making it easy for the soil to be washed down the slope when it rains.
That is a good answer, Tipis. When farmers cultivate on the slopes, the soil is made loose. This makes it possible for the rainwater to wash it down the valley. After the rainwater has washed down the soils, rills may develop, which can later become gullies.
Teacher, what happens when all the soil is washed away by wind or rainwater?
That is a good question, Nekesa. Human beings depend on soil and trees, which provide fuel. In it, people plant crops which give them food. When soil erosion occurs, it affects human activities. Some of these effects are that 1. When the fertile soil is washed away, the land becomes infertile for growing crops. This decreases crop yields. 2. Soil erosion may cause dams to silt. This reduces the water available for irrigation. If the silt is not removed, the production of hydroelectric power may also be affected. 3. Soils that have piled up on roads make the roads impassable. And 4. The alluvial soils that are deposited in the plains are fertile. This makes the area more productive. Teacher, discuss more effects of soil erosion on human activities with the pupils at the end of this lesson. We shall now discuss the measures that can be taken to conserve soils. Teacher, write the following measures on the chalkboard. 1. Afforestation and reforestation. 2. Controlled grazing. 3. Strip cropping. 4. Planting cover crops. 5. Terracing. 6. Constructing cut-off drains. 7. Building check dams. 8. Constructing gabions. 9. Contour ploughing. 10. Crop rotation. And 11. Mulching.
Teacher, what is the difference between afforestation and reforestation?
That is a good question, Tipis. Afforestation is planting of trees where there were none before. Reforestation is replacing trees which have been cut down. The trees planted will act as windbreakers and their roots will help to hold the soils together. Tell us why it is necessary to control grazing, Nekesa.
I think when grazing is controlled, soil erosion will be reduced.
That is good, Nekesa. Keeping the number of animals that corresponds with the size of the grazing land reduces soil erosion. The pastoralists should be encouraged to reduce the number of their livestock so as to reduce soil erosion. The next measure of soil erosion control that we shall discuss is strip cropping.
Teacher, what is strip cropping?
Strip cropping involves growing different crops on alternative strips parallel to one another. Some strips are left fallow, while a variety of crops are planted in others. The crops mature and are harvested at different times. This ensures that the entire area is never left bare. This reduces the flow of water and so controls soil erosion. Give us an example of a cover crop, Nekesa.
An example of a cover crop is sweet potatoes.
That is good, Nekesa. Sweet potatoes, peas, beans, and grass are cover crops.
How do cover crops control soil erosion, teacher?
That is a good question, Tippis. Cover crops will tend to spread out on the ground and protect the soil from being washed away by rainwater or blown away by wind.
Teacher, you mentioned terracing. What is terracing?
Terracing is mainly done on hilly areas. The slopes are broken into a series of almost level benches or steps. These steps are called terraces. Cover plants, such as napier grass, are planted at the edge of each terrace. This slows down the flow of running water down the slope. The soil being carried by the water is trapped by the cover plants. This helps to control soil erosion. In order to control water that flows from the hilltops, cut-off drains are constructed.
Teacher, what are cut-off drains?
That is a good question, Tippis. Cut-off drains are trenches that are constructed to direct water from the hilltops into natural or artificial waterways. Napier grass is planted along the banks to make them strong. This reduces soil erosion.
Teacher, are cut-off drains the same as check dams?
That is a good question. Cut-off drains are not the same as check dams. Check dams are constructed by placing stones and sticks in the middle section of a gully. We have mentioned that cut-off drains are trenches. When check dams are constructed, the speed of water is checked and silt is deposited behind the dam.
Teacher, so we can say that check dams control gully erosion?
That is true, Tippis. I can see your hand is up. Do you have a question, Nekesa?
Yes, teacher. What other measure can be used to control gully erosion?
That is a good question, Nekesa. Gabions are constructed behind gullies to control gully erosion.
Teacher, how are gabions constructed?
Gabions are constructed using wire mesh and stones that trap the soil. They are constructed behind gullies. After gabions have been constructed, vegetation grows on the gully sides. The vegetation continues to hold back the soil until the gullies disappear. Gabions have been constructed in Kitui and Machakos districts where gully erosion had occurred. In the areas that are hilly, contour ploughing measures can be used.
Teacher, what is contour ploughing?
That is a good question, Tippis. Contour ploughing is done along the contours. Crops are planted in furrows that follow the contours. When the soil is made loose by ploughing, it can roll down the hill. However, the furrows help to trap the soil. We shall now discuss crop rotation as a measure of soil conservation. In crop rotation, different crops are planted in a particular sequence to make the best use of the land. As different crops use and produce different nutrients, the soil fertility is maintained, thus reducing soil erosion. Mulching is another measure used to conserve soil.
Teacher, please tell us what mulching is.
Mulching is putting a protective covering of waste organic matter, such as leaves, around crops. This reduces the effect of raindrops on the soil and therefore controls soil erosion. In today's lesson, we have discussed the following. 1. Causes of soil erosion. 2. Effects of soil erosion on human activities. And 3. Soil conservation measures. And that brings us to the end of our lesson today. You have been listening to a social studies program for Standard 8 pupils